How's it going, guys? I am once again straight out of the theater, and this time we watched Neighbors 2 Sorority Rising. So, let's talk about this movie. This movie's about Seth Rogen and Zac Efron, of course, and they have and Seth Rogen and his wife. They have a kid, and if you're unaware with the premise of the first movie, it's that a frat moves in, and they're like, "Yo, we want to party," and Seth Rogen's like, "Nah," and then they get into a whole feuding war, and basically the same thing happens in this one, except Chloe Grace Moretz starts a sorority that parties, and Zac Efron helps them out. Let's go over the basics. Is it good? It's a comedy. It's it's a comedy. It's not really a good one. Um, yeah, I mean it's funny. It doesn't flow very well as a movie, but it's pretty funny most of the time. Um, Trying to think of things to say about it. It was okay. So as a fan of the first one, I was pretty underwhelmed. I went in, they told a lot of jokes that just kind of went. Um, Sometimes I would laugh really hard. They keep the same over the top slapstick, which was still as funny. I mean, if you enjoy that kind of stuff, that over the top slapstick, like the airbag gags that they had in the first one, they've got some more airbag gags, which are kind of like. They've got some other stuff that's it's still funny. I mean it's just like it's just pure stupid humor. Um, Not as strong as it could be, obviously. Um, let's get into the actual movie. The writing, it's kind of choppy. It doesn't flow as well as it should. But it's funny. It manages to keep a decent pace. Um, the direction is it's kind of awkward sometimes, but once again, it manages to keep a decent pace. It manages to keep it going to where you're not like, oh, this is dragging. Um, the the acting is pretty well most of the time. For whatever reason, Zac Efron's putting in way more than it seems like anyone else is. Seth Rogen puts it in sometimes. There's one scene actually in the middle of the movie where they go all out, like full blown, everyone's putting everything into it, and then it kind of peters out. Like the movie starts okay, and then it hits like a peak in the middle at this point where selling weed where the sorority starts selling weed at a tailgate, and and then it kind of peters out from there, and it's still funny, but it's not like there's a moment in that tailgating bit where you're like, wow, they're really going crazy. There's like a moment where you're like, wow, they're going like so crazy with it. Like I can't help but laugh, and it's so funny and crazy and ridiculous. And then you're like, where, where did, where did that go? It's not like they sold out or anything, but like it just kind of like went out, and it wasn't as good from there. Nevertheless, it was still funny. It kept going. The Like I said, Zac Efron did very well. I felt like he was the highlight of the movie. Seth Rogen was pretty funny. The woman who plays his wife, Rose Byrne. Rose Byrne did very well. Um, Dave Frank. They all did well. One of the things that bothered me though was that they kept hopping. There were like three perspectives. There was Seth Rogen and his wife's, and Rose Byrne's, Zac Efron's, and the sorority girls, Chloe Grace Moretz and the other ones, because that's really just what they were. They were just other ones. Um, and they kept hopping from one to one with, and like they started some stuff with Zac Efron and his uh, former frat brothers, and some stuff with Chloe Grace Moretz and her group. They were always just together. They never singled anyone out, which I kind of thought was good, except for the fact that they all like had starter packs of personalities, but after a certain point, they kind of petered out into just stereotypical girls. Um, I didn't like Chloe Grace Moretz and the sorority girls. They all just were they were throwaway characters. Zac Efron and Dave Franco had distinct personalities, and they were very enjoyable, and that's what I was hoping from these sorority girls. However, I got none of that. They were just sorority girls. Um, and in fact, one of the things that really bothered me was that they were focused with making these sorority girls be evil and mean to Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. Um, but they like then towards the end they start but and throughout the entire movie even they try to make them nice or like interest the movie assumes you're interested in them, and they're like, oh, look at these characters making steps, don't you care about them? And I'm like, no, I don't, movie. I don't give a shit about these sorority girls because they're mean and evil, and why would I? And that's where it differs from the first movie. In the first movie you could feel like real companionship between the entire frat. And these sorority girls, they're just because they had personalities. Zac Efron had a personality, and Dave Franco had a personality, and they were different, and they were two people, and you could just feel this like brotherly bond between them. But you don't feel that with these sorority girls. They're like friends, and they revert to this level of stupidity that's shocking to see. Anyways, um, yeah, I thought it was fine though. It was a comedy. It was funny. It was worth seeing. Um, my official critic score gives it this a 7 out of 10. Um, my enjoyment score is also 7 out of 10 because I didn't enjoy this too much. It was funny, but a lot of the times it diverted to laughing, and I don't like laughing. It's doesn't have the same pleasure as gut busting. Every now and then you'd get a gut bust, but most of the time it would laughing. I I don't know. It just hit that peak in the middle, and if that peak in the middle would have been present throughout the entire movie, then it would be a solid 10 out of 10. But it's not. But still, I recommend you go see it, judge it for yourself. Who knows? It might be your favorite movie ever. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.